Golf addicts, welcome to the Rocket Mortgage Classic 2021 betting picks and preview show. We are the Tour Junkies. I'm your host, DB. I got Pat Perry with me. He's still riding the heater, folks. Let me just tell you, he's still sparking it up a little bit. He's still a little sparky over there with his little hot stuff going on. He's still winning some stuff and some money and making good picks and playing golf all over the world and just living his best life over here. Presented by our friends at fantasynational.com. That is our one-stop shop for anything related to betting on golf. If you're betting on golf at all, if you're spending if you're spending like $13.50 a week on golf, then you need to have a fantasynational.com membership. Now, Pat hates odd numbers, so I know that probably is driving him crazy right there.
Yeah,
but if you're spending, an amount of money, then you need to have a Fantasy National membership. It's who we've used for years now. It's the only place we trust. All the data, licensed to them by the PGA Tour, so you know it's good. They've got everything you need. All the stats, all the recent form, all the course history, head-to-head matchup simulators, all the stuff you need for DFS if you're doing that. It's the place to go. So head over to fantasynational.com/TJ and you get 20% off when you tell them that the Tour Junkies sent you. Thousands have joined Fantasy National over the years and are making a butt ton of money. And that's a real actual amount. And speaking of butt ton of money, we actually had a lot of people in the Nut Hut last week win some money. Shout out Bryce Moore, who won $15K. Another guy with a weird name in the Nut Hut that I don't know what his name actually is. He won like $25K. We had a bunch of folks win some money. It was a good week. On this very show, you touted specifically, but you stole him from me in the DFS show prior. But you touted Harris English at 50-1. The old hairy dog, DGD.
Yeah.
He pulled it off in the most boringest pillow fight of a playoff between Kramer Hugecock and whatever, his girlfriend and his mom and his dog and his niece.
Sam Burns. Don't forget Sam Burns was with him.
The new Ricky Fowler, I guess, over there. I mean, he just had everybody. He's less people at Thanksgiving than he had there, which is great for him. I mean, good. I'm sure he's a good kid. William Lanier on his bag, actually.
I know. That was pretty cool. Yeah, he used to be on Wesley Bryan's bag, won a tournament, won the Heritage on Wesley Bryan's bag. Augusta Boy. That was pretty cool.
Yeah, he's been on the show before. Actually, years ago. He lives right down the street. Good dude. William Lanier's good dude. I was kind of hoping William might get the win there. But anyway, that's enough of the Travelers Championship. I do want to thank everybody who's watching live on YouTube. If you're watching on YouTube, please give the video a thumbs up. That helps us out. Subscribe to the channel as well. And comment something. Comment, I don't know, Pat. What should they comment? Yeah, I always have to think of these things. You don't ever have to think of these things. You just sit here, show up, drink, and do your thing. What should the people put in the comments on the betting show?
Well, I think that they should put in the comments the lowest owned player that they feel like can finish in the top 10 this week.
Okay, so you're asking the betting show people about.
Sorry, the betting show. How about the longest odds player that finishes in the top 10 this week?
Longest odds player to finish in the top 10. Comment that. Put that in the comments. There you go. Look at Pat thinking on his feet right there, huh? What's the podcast juice? Are you on another triple IPA? It was a triple IPA in the first show.
Yeah, another triple IPA. I'm doubling it up on the triples.
You're doing a sextuple IPA night tonight, huh?
Yeah.
Is that all right on that? Is it six? Is six a sextuple thing? Is that what it is?
Yeah, I think.
Can anybody confirm? Anyway, so you're doing the IPA. Okay, I've got a little Wild Leap and some soda here with a lime. Shout out Wild Leap Brewing Company. Speaking of Wild Leap Brewing Company, Pat, I do need to tease this for next week. Next week, on the DraftKings show, we are going to have a brand new segment, and it's going to be a segment that happens a lot, maybe not every week, but frequently. It's called Nut Up or Shut Up. And it's going to be a game show, a trivia game show. And we're going to pull in a live viewer on YouTube, on camera, on the mic, and they got to be a Nut Hut member. We're gonna select them from the Nut Hut batch of people watching live on YouTube, and we're gonna play a quick trivia game. It's gonna be fun. It's gonna be golf related. We're gonna have a good time with it, and we're gonna get prizes for you guys every week. Every time we do it, there's gonna be great prizes. And next week for the first one, our friends at Wild Leap are gonna send the lucky contestant, if they win, We're not going to send them anything if they don't win. If they don't win, like I'm not sending them shit. This is not like 5-year-old t-ball. I'm tired of that. If you lose, you lose. But if you win, Wild Leap is sending people some liquor and beer next week. I'm excited about it. Nut up or shut up. Oh yeah, our boy Daniel Beta, Aussie DB is what I like to call him. That's a great emoji combo, Daniel. That's a nut and a emoticon with a zipper over his mouth. That's a great. I love a good emoticon. A good emoticon. What do you call that? Just Pat. You don't know, do you? Because you're not paying any attention. Like
I do
love.
know what emoticon is.
No, but I mean a good combo there, like where you say nut up or shut up. He can't
Mm.
he's got the nuts and then the zipper over. That's real good there, Aussie DB. Congratulations to you. So you're not going to want to miss the game there. Don't forget also in a couple weeks live on the Open Championship podcast, I will be getting a part of my body waxed live on air by my wife because I lost a bet to Pat. So that's fun. Moving right along. For the Rocket Mortgage, this is what we're going to do here. If you want a full course breakdown, if you just get all hot and bothered whenever you hear Pat talk about grass types and fairways and just
sexy talk, sexy time, I like to call it.
Yeah, if you like all that, then you can go over to the DFS show and listen to it. We're not going to get into all that and repeat all that for this show. But we'll talk about the stats that are important to us as we kind of talk through some of these players and names that we like. We're at the Rocket Mortgage Classic. It's only the third year that we've seen it at Detroit Golf Club. Now, Detroit Golf Club's seen a lot of rain lately, so we do know it's pretty soft. That's word on the street. Pretty soft golf course. But it's been 2 really different years. The first year they played here, Nate Lashley. Just nobody Nate. Monday qualified into the event and then won it. Okay. And a lot of books didn't even offer odds on him. He wasn't in the DraftKings player pool if you played DraftKings that week, and he won. So the books that did have him had him anywhere between 350 and 400, 450 to 1. And then last year, you had Bryson show up and just totally obliterate the place. Cutting corners, didn't care if he was in the rough, didn't care if he was in the fairway, just butchered the place, just manhandled it like he does, and won at like 7.5 to 1. So in 2 years, we've seen literally, you can't get further than the guy who's here all the Monday qualified and the betting favorite. You just can't get any different. I just checked before the show. The winning totals line on most sports books right now is 23.5 under. So this is going to be one of those events where you're going to have to make a buttload of birdies and eagles. There's going to be a lot of scoring. The books think this is going to be a scoring fest, and when that happens, we know that it could really be anybody's game. So, Pat, I think I'm going to give you some names in the mid-range, but honestly, I feel like when it's all said and done, it's going to be like a 1 name short, maybe 2 names in the shorter to mid-range, and then it's just a bunch of darts. It's going to be a bunch of dude, my betting card, it's going to take me I'm not even going to write up all the names. It'll take me forever. I'll have so many like $2 bets and $3, $4 bets using my $50 allotment on the betting card. It'll be ridiculous. It's just going to be one of those weeks where I feel like it could be crazy. Bryson could also just run away with it again. I don't know. What are you kind of thinking in terms of where the card's going to shape up for you? Now, this is a Monday, so.
Yeah, for me, I think there's a big range that I like, really from like 70 to 1 and over. There's a few guys on the shorter end of that, but like 70 to 1 to like 110 to 1 it's kind of my sweet spot right now, where I think I'm going to get the guy. But
okay.
Other than that, I do think there's some good value in some top 10s and some top 20s. But yeah, so that's where I think it's going right now.
I really like the long shots in the top 20 market. I like that anyway. Every week I like that, but I especially like it this week. That could be good. I also like that our boy Nick A, who's in the YouTube chat, says the podcast juice is flowing. He's got him a Woodford Old Fashioned with an orange slice, and he's ready to win some cash.
Yeah, that's how you win. That's how you win, Nick A.
Okay?
You do this show right. Okay.
Yeah.
We don't need to be the only ones.
No.
with the podcast juice flowing. You guys should be flowing with the pod. And now, unless it's like 7 in the morning and you're on your way to work, you don't need to be flowing with the podcast juice. But if you're listening to us live right now, flow that shit.
Yeah, flow that shit. Or maybe you're recovering and you don't need to relapse. You probably don't need to listen to this show.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, anyway, here we are. It's going to be a scoring fest. I'm excited about it. Before I get into it, I do have to remind everybody we've been talking about our friends at Caldera Lab and the good stuff they're doing for your face, the good stuff they're doing for your body skin. That part of your body cover, your body costume, also known as your skin. You got to take care of it. It's the only skin you got. It's the only thing you got, man. And you're out in the sun, you're letting the sun eat it up and tear it up and put all like dots all over it and stuff. And our friends at Caldera Lab can take care of you. So if it's dry skin or acne scars or you just wrinkly, you're getting old and you need to firm it up a little bit, you need to tighten it up a little bit like Pat needs to on a couple of areas. The Good is a multifunctional face serum that our friends at Caldera Lab have, and it's fantastic. But they got all kind of stuff, but that's just one of them. Okay, that's just one. In just a couple weeks, your skin will feel smoother and firmer, we promise. Pat promises. The Good is where it's at. They got clinical trials that just prove it works with everything. All skin types. If you got a beard, if you're bald, dry scalp, wet scalp, medium moisture scalp, you keep it nice and shiny and moisturized with the Good. You can try it risk-free, 100%. That 100%, not 99, 100. Risk-free, no risk. Now, if you're listening to this show, you like risk. But if you're buying something like this, you don't want risk. And they take it away from you. If you don't love it, they'll refund you in full. And listeners of the Tour Junkies podcast are going to get 20% off your first purchase at Caldera Lab. Your first Caldera Lab purchase, go to Caldera Lab. That's CALDERALAB.com. Use discount code Tour Junkies at checkout. CalderaLab.com. Discount code Tour Junkies at checkout. Help them out. Help them out. Supporting the Tour Junkies. You guys support them and get your face right. Get your body costume okay. All right, Pat. I'm excited about the show tonight. We're going to talk about outrights, top 20s. Are you done texting? Do we need to wait, or do you need to continue?
No, we're good. We're good. We're good.
You sure?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay. At the end of the show, we're going to have our Let 'em Hang predictions where we get real ballsy with it. We have hit one of those. We've only been doing it like 3 weeks. We've hit one. I hit one. We both whiffed last week, but that's okay. We're supposed to whiff on these. I got a really fun one tonight. In fact, I was putting it in tonight and in the captions, and producer Sam saw it and he went, "Ooh." Like it kind of surprised him or something. It just got him in his surprise spot, and he got real happy about it. So I think that's gonna be fun. And then at the end of the show, I'm doing just the tip, and I'm gonna bring it on just the tip tonight, and you're not gonna like it, Pat. So there you go. That's a tease. That's what they call a tease in the biz.
Okay. All right.
We're talking the favorites up to 25-1. Obviously, you got the big guy. Bryson's kind of leading the way, doing his thing. He's at like 7-1, 8-1, some places, whatever. Don't want any of that because frankly, I'm just not a sissy, so I'm not going to do that. The only name in here at 25 up to 25-1 that I kind of like is I think he's on PointsBet. I'm pulling it up right now because I forgot. I think it's Hideki. Is he 22-1 on PointsBet?
He is
22-1 on PointsBet. Hideki Matsuyama. I talked him up on the DFS show. The irons continue to crush for Hideki. He's played really well here the last couple of years at the Detroit Golf Club. Now, course history here is whatever. They've only played here twice. Very small sample size. Last year, 2020, you had a lot of guys still coming off of the COVID thing and finding form and figuring out which end of the golf club to hold. But so I'm not counting it too much. But when you played it as well as Hideki, I like it. And at 22-1, I really like it. So I think there's good value there with Hideki, and that is it. I don't want anyone else here. Now, we do usually pick a play in here that we want to stay away from. That play for me is going to be Webb Simpson. He is at 19-1 on DraftKings or 16-1 on PointsBet. Webb, I think Webb could be an interesting DFS play. I think he'd make the cut and maybe finish top 10, maybe top 15. The form is not where I'd like to see it for Webb to then sweep in here Not playing well. He didn't play. He missed the cut at the U.S. Open. We had his caddy, Paul Tesori, on the show. Paul talked about how he had the neck injury. Then he got the flu really bad. Then he goes to the U.S. Open, misses the cut miserably at the U.S. Open. I just don't see any reason to bet him outright to win. If you want to bet him top 10, whatever. I wouldn't do it, but I think Webb is the safest stay away play in this range.
All right. Well, I agree with that. So we'll go ahead and get that out of the way. I'm with you on Webb and just staying away from that. I have two plays though here. One is Hideki, just like you. I like him at 22-1. And then I like Willie Z at 25-1, right on that number there. I mean, look, well, he's at 26.5-1. So I cheated a little bit on that one.
Dude, what are you talking about? You're already skipping ahead.
Well, he dropped down from when I was talking about him.
He'll be at 25-1 by the time people are listening.
Sorry, he was 26. He is 26.5. He's 25-1 on points bet. But anyway, I don't care.
Make him on the shorter number just to get him in the range.
Yeah, love Willie Z this week. I mean, the guys. I think this is the week he wins. I'm calling it. I think this is the week he wins. He is my favorite play of any play you're about to hear from me. I think Willie Z wins this week. So there you go.
Who's your stay away play?
I mentioned it.
Webb. Yeah. Oh. Nick A brings up a fun thing. This is a Nick A show. Hank Lebioda can go low, which I agree with. Beautiful odds for each way. Now,
yeah,
we don't get to play each way.
We don't get to do those.
God, I wish we did. I mean, each way would just be so nice. But we don't get to do that. You guys can do that in like Canada and Europe and I think Australia. I don't know. Let me know in the chat. I'm not sure. We can't do that here in the US of A. Hell, most of us can't even bet anyway. But here we are. So yeah, each way numbers are fun. I mean, any of the guys we mentioned, if you want to take them each way, you can. All right, let's get into this more mid-range here. 26 or up to 75-1.
Okay.
I don't know, man. I'm just not. I just don't love it. My favorite play for sure, and which is it's in the shorter side of this, is Jason Kokrak at 30-1 on DraftKings. You can get the better number on Kokrak right now. I know he missed a cut at the U.S. Open. I'm gonna kind of throw that out. You get a major championship, especially a guy like Kokrak who hasn't played in a lot of those, and you see him. It's a tough course, and you see a miscut. I don't think that's a huge deal. He won the Charles Schwab a couple weeks before that. He's won twice this year. He's long off the tee. Great ball striker. He's played here once in 2019, finished 29th, whatever. Irons are still really, really good for Kokrak. 30-1 is an interesting number. Could he win twice in his last 3 tournaments? He could. Is it likely? No, but I like the number. I guess I'll go to. I like Doc Redman. I don't love the number. He's 55-1 on DraftKings. Like if it gets below, I don't even like 55-1. Honestly, that much. I'm just giving you a name in this range, so he's not one of my favorites. But I do think Doc has played well at this golf course. He likes a course that you don't have to be super long. For a young guy, you would think a young guy named Doc Redman would hit it a long way. He doesn't. He's a very much like total driving guy. Long enough, hits a lot of fairways, but the irons have really been solid for Doc lately. So 55-1 for him, I don't mind at all. He's also plus 225 as a top 20. I like that. But yeah, Doc Redman, that's it for me. Yeah, and producer Sam says he's 40-1 on PointsBet. That's Doc Redman's 40-1 on PointsBet. I do have a couple names I'm going to give you here in a minute in the next range that have major gaps between DK and PointsBet that you might want to pay attention to. Yeah, so he's 40-1 on PointsBet right now, 55-1 on DraftKings. I would not touch him anywhere if he drops below 55-1, honestly. If he gets shorter than that, I'm out. That's it for me.
All right. Well, I got a few guys in here that I like. I'll start with Kiz. I do like Kiz at 35-1. I think that's a good number for him. We saw him play well last week. This is a course that he likes. It sets up well for him. So I like Kiz. I think you could probably get him even longer Maybe somewhere else. I think PointsBet may have him at 40-1. And then another
Oh,
guy.
no, I think he's 35. I think 35 to 1 is the best number. But I want to stop you there with Kiz because we talked about him on the DFS show. And I kind of pushed back on you a little bit with him. Obviously, it all comes down to the putter for him. He got super hot with the putter last week. Shot 2 rounds of 63, gained 7 strokes putting. I think I'd rather bet him. Oh no, he is 40 to 1 on PointsBet, so he's gotten longer because I looked at him this morning. This afternoon he was 30, so he's 40 to 1 on PointsBet. I actually think I'd rather bet him to win than I would play him in DFS. I feel like in DFS Kiss is going to miss the cutter. He's going to keep the hot putter and could run away with it. So I don't mind the outright bet. I like the outright bet.
Another guy in that same kind of thought process is Charlie Hoffman. He's at 50 to 1 on PointsBet. I think he's going to be highly owned in DFS because he just has been lately with the way he's been playing and everything else. But I like that number at 50 to 1. And then also Gary Woodland is at 55 to 1. I love that number. He's at 55 to 1 on PointsBet. I think that's a great number for him. I mentioned him on the DFS show. I think this is a good course for him. He's great at ball striking right now. His approach play is fantastic. So I think Woodland at 55 to 1 is also another good number. And that's pretty much it up to that for me, up to that 75 to 1 range.
Gary scares me, man. He definitely scares me. But yeah, it's one of those weeks. A lot of things can happen. He's obviously got plenty of win equity when he's in it. So I get it. Yeah, that's it for me in this range. So now we're getting into the long shot. I mean, this is what I'm saying. Like this field, this tournament, the scoring conditions, the field, the golf course could produce a ton of long shot potential winners. Or Bryson can just run away with the whole thing and we're all screwed. So this range up to 125 to 1. So anything longer than 75 to 1 and up to 125. There's a couple names in here that on other books much shorter. For example, I might jump around here a little bit. At 100 to 1 on DraftKings, Sepp Straka is 100 to 1. He's 70 to 1 on PointsBet. Considerably shorter over there on PointsBet. Now, Sepp loves this place. Apparently, he's played very well here he's played here both years. Sepp Straka finished 11th and 8th. He's coming off a top 10 at the Travelers. Like, he hits it a mile. I think he would take the Bryson approach. He can feast on these par fives. I think Sepp Straka, you need to get him at 100 to 1 on DraftKings before that gets knocked down, because I think that's for sure. I think DraftKings is going to wake up on that one and get a little shorter for old Sepp, and he gained strokes on those putting surfaces. It's kind of a bent POA mix this week. He gained strokes on both of those surfaces. He does those quite well for a Southern. I guess, well, he's not a Southern boy, he's from Austria, but he played at UGA. Listen, UGA pounds out winners when it comes to golf, so just know that. He found something with the irons. The irons clicked at the Travelers, gained 5.4 strokes on approach after losing like 3 strokes solid for the previous 6 weeks. So something happened with old Sepp, and I want to be around to watch how it goes down this week. Would love an each way bet, by the way, on Sepp Straka. God, that would just that'd be good. Another guy, I'm going to jump around. Another guy who considerably longer on DraftKings and PointsBet is Danny Willett. I talked about him on the DFS show. He's 110 to 1 on DraftKings. He's also 70 to 1 on PointsBet. Now, I don't have the same strong feelings that I have about Danny Willett that I did about Sepp. I don't know what it is. I said it on the DFS show. He just kind of feels like a gut play to me. I don't know. He just feels like a gut play. Feels like a guy who wants to close the door on it a little bit. I don't know what the I'm looking at the U.S. Ryder Cup rankings. I don't know what he's probably not close in the European Ryder Cup rankings, if I had to guess. Oh, no, actually he is. That may be why he's here. Now I might like him a little more. Danny Willett, 14th in the Ryder Cup standings for Team Europe. So very close to kind of getting in the, he's definitely in the conversation, but He's got Ryder Cup experience. That's an interesting take there. I didn't even notice that on the DFS.
I would love it. I would love it if he made the European Ryder Cup team. That would be great for us.
Why? He's played the European Ryder Cup.
Danny Willett?
Yeah. He was there when we were there in Paris.
I'm sure he's played, but I would still love him to be on their team because he sucks.
I don't think he sucks.
Okay, so that's fine.
Yeah, but he is kind of a gut call for me. But you got guys like him who are on that Ryder Cup bubble that I think are interesting. All right, I'll let you go because I don't want to steal one of your guys, but I might come back and hit a couple more here.
Oh God, what? I mean, I don't even know where we're at here. You've been going
you don't
off.
pay fucking attention, dude. We're up to 125 to 1. The graphic's been on the screen. I literally named 2 guys, Straka and Danny Willett. That's it. And you've already lost it because you don't pay any attention.
Where are we starting at? What range are we starting at? 75 to 1?
It's on the sheet.
It's not on the sheet.
Yes,
it's not on my sheet. It's not on the sheet. That's your sheet. That's not my sheet.
The same sheet you get. God.
All right. Did I miss Stanley at 85 to 1? I like him. I like Lucas Glover at 100 to 1. I think that's a fantastic number for Lucas Glover at 100 to 1. I like Mark Hubbard also at 100 to 1. Ches Reavie at 100 to 1. And then Joel, well, no, I can't get to Joel Damon yet. So there you go.
Hey, man. Ches Reavie was the one. I was going to mention Ches Reavie. I knew you liked him.
Yeah.
You definitely didn't. You didn't. I mean, you got somewhere to be. I mean, you gave us nothing on any of those picks. We're only 26 minutes into the show.
I gave you winners. That's what I gave you.
An appointment?
What else do you need? I gave you winners. Those are winners.
It's 10:15 p.m. Are you? Do you have to go somewhere? What do we do?
No, I just tell you who the winner is, and you play them. That is what the people want to hear. Okay.
Okay. I do like the Ches call. He's 100 to 1 on DraftKings. He's also plus 335 in the top 20 market, along with Sepp Straka at plus 335. Lebioda, somebody mentioned, I think Nick mentioned Hank Lebioda. He's 125 to 1. That's the best number you can get on Hank. I do think Hank's pretty confident. Before I bet on a young guy like that, I like to see them in a final group or two and like feel it late on a Sunday. And while he did just finish 5th, he wasn't quite in it really. So I'd like to see that before I bet him outright. But I do think if you can get him in an outright market, I mean in an each way market, that would be interesting. So there you go. That's the up to 125 guys. All right, Pat. Now, Pat, are you there? Pat. Okay.
Yeah, where are we going with now?
Now we're in long shots over 125 to 1. Okay.
Over 125 to 1. I don't really have a lot of these, but you can go first. Go
no, I'll let you go. You hit all yours. Go get all yours out of there. That way you can check out and check your text messages or do whatever else you're doing while I'm going.
Okay. Well, I got a few here. I like Joel Damon. He is at 140 to 1. I think that's a good number for him. I mentioned we already went over Hank Lebioda, didn't we do that? I like Cameron Champ. I think Cam Champ, he's at 150 to 1. I mentioned him on the DFS show. I think this is a good course for him. We've seen him win twice on tour. He can bomb it all over the place on this course. If he's kind of like I wouldn't say he's a Bryson light, but he's a guy that, certainly is long off the tee, can take a lot of crazy lines on golf courses.
He might be longer than Bryson.
Maybe he is. I don't know. Do you think he is?
Fucking kill it. Yes.
You think he's longer than Bryson, though?
Dude, he is long. Yes. I think he's.
I know he's long. I just said that.
I think he's as long. I think he's as long. He just doesn't get all the hype Bryson gets. I'm telling you. I've seen it in person. It's unbelievable.
All right. Well, I mean, I trust your word at that, but I'm just saying that I like him this week. Here's another guy that's sneaky long, but just I can't ever figure out because he sucks sometimes, but he's still won on tour. Dylan Fratelli is at 200 to 1. He's one of the longest guys. You talk about one of the longest guys on tour. That's him.
Long.
He had at the US Open. He was, I think, second or third longest drive recorded in that event.
Currently, according to the PGA Tour driving distance stats, which are pretty crappy, honestly. Fratelli's 11th and Cam Champ is 3rd. Bryson leads away at 322 average. Champ's 318 and Fratelli's 310. Also, Well, I'm not going to say that. Never mind. Anyway.
Okay. Anyway, go ahead.
You mentioned a guy last week, man, out of nowhere, and I got to give you props, even though I'm pissed at you right now. But you mentioned you had the Bo Hostler call last week, and
Yes, I did.
I'm surprised because you literally texted me about him. I don't know if you were drunk texting me. Were you drunk texting me Bo Hostler touts like over the week while you're at Hazeltine? You're at Hazeltine playing golf and you're hammered. And
I
you're like,
just said, how about the Bo Hostler
yeah, but you
call?
said it like 3 days in a row. I'm like, yeah, I got it. I see.
Because you always give me so much shit for Bo Hostler.
But I didn't give you anything I just said you love Bo Hostler because you love a white male in a large visor. You love that.
I don't
You
know.
absolutely
I
love
would
that.
not say that that is true at all. I think that's very offensive towards me. Very
Dude,
offensive.
you love a tour big
That's
old
the
visor.
most offensive thing you've ever said to me.
Stop. You love it. I know you do, but you literally drunk texted me 3 times and like, how did that Bo Hostler call? Like, yeah, yeah. Anyway, I can't believe you didn't mention him. You're all over him, and then you just skipped a day here today, and you don't want to talk about him. But he's 160 to 1 to win. He's been playing good. This is a Nate Lashley weird tournament. If Bryson doesn't win, God knows who will. So Hostler at 160 to 1 could be a thing. Kevin Chappell at 150 to 1, playing on a medical exemption, limited starts. He's picking his spots here on the PGA Tour. He's never been a bomber, but he's always been a really good ball striker, and he can close the door in the hunt on the PGA Tour. He's a proven guy. Like, I love it. So I think Kevin Chappell at 150 to 1 in his limited starts is pretty solid. Producer Sam sending us a tweet in the middle of the show is never good. Let's see. Apparently Joel Damon doesn't have his clubs. What's going on here? So you just mentioned Joel as a bet. I don't know. Flight cancellations, all kind of stuff going on. So I don't know what's going on. Producer Sam is trying to give us the latest here on the Tour Junkies podcast. But you mentioned the Joel Damon play, but I don't play Joel his first event back. That's just a rule of thumb. We know that. Our boy Gino's told us that. When it's his first event somewhere, you don't play Joel. You let him get the alcohol out of his system first, and then you play him. But apparently he's also having flight issues. So I like Kevin Chappell. Yeah, they lost his clubs. That's perfect. Dude, and
Whatever. Come on, let's make that a narrative.
No, remember he's got that hybrid or 3-wood or something that he loves that he got on eBay that was a big deal a few months ago. Everybody loved.
It's Monday. I feel like they'll find his clubs.
Maybe.
Let's just wait and see.
That's true. Who else I like? Now I didn't talk about him on the DFS show, and I'm sure people were probably like, wait a minute, what's happening? But Cam Davis is 160 to 1. 160 to 1 on DraftKings. On PointsBet, he's half. He's 80 to 1. He's half the odds on PointsBet. He's 160 to 1 on DraftKings. Get on your DraftKings app right now if you can bet legally in your state. If you can't, drive across the state lines and do it. 160 to 1. He's half the number on PointsBet. He's a long-hitting, lanky Aussie who just, can feast on the par fives. Why would you not take a chance? I don't love the form lately. It's a little, it's not the Cam that I fell in love with originally, but I think he can bring it back. He's had a week or two off. I just love this course setup for him. I see him taking the Bryson approach here and just F you, I'm Donald Ross. I'm cutting corners. I'm going to do my thing. 160 to 1 on DraftKings and 5 to 1 as a top 20. Love that. Finally, my last outright pick is going to be Danny Lee at 200 to 1. Love me some Danny Lee. No, I don't, actually. I said that. I don't know why I said that. I shouldn't have said that. I don't love Danny Lee, but Danny Lee's been coming around a little bit. He's a proven PGA Tour winner back in 2015, right? Hits it a long way, coming around a little bit. Danny Lee can get hot. It's a weird tournament. Things can get weird. So I like him. He's also 4 to 1 as a top 20. So there you go. There's that. Other top 20 bets. You got any of those, Pat, or probably not?
No, not right now. I will later in the week, actually. I might throw some in there for you in the Nut Hut.
Oh, yeah. Okay. All right. Well, let's get to it, man. You got your let 'em hang prediction? Let's get into let 'em hang predictions of the week.
So my let 'em hang prediction is actually going to be that the no name, the guy that you think that just sucks at golf, that won a golf tournament for no reason whatsoever, Nate Lashley, the defending champion of this golf tournament,
He's not
finished it.
defending.
Or
Bryson.
sorry, 2 years ago, he is a defending champion. He's just not this year's defending champion.
I mean, he's not defending.
Nate Lashley finishes in the top 10.
What's the number on that?
12-1.
Okay. Interesting. I like that.
So Nate Lashley, past winner of the event, not defending champion, but past winner of the event, finishes top 10 at 12-1. That's the let him hang play of the week.
That was good there. I like what you did there. Okay, mine's a little. I got a little weird with this one. I teased this on the DFS show. I'm not playing Bryson in DFS. I'm not going to bet him at 7.5 to 1 because I have balls hanging between my legs. But I did find a way to have a little Bryson exposure, and it's a long shot. It's a long shot. But I'm going to do a little bit of a double. A little bit of a double, Pat. The Irish Open is going on right now across the pond, as they say. And it's at a new course. Or actually, it's actually not a new course, but it's a course they haven't played in a long time. Like Nick Faldo won the thing a long time ago. So relatively new course that nobody really has much of an advantage on. And I'm going to take a combo little double here, and I'm going to parlay Bryson to win the Rocket Mortgage and your boy, young Sam Horsfield, to win the Irish Open.
Oh, wow.
If both of those things happened, that is a 200 to 1, actually a little over 200 to 1 hit that you can do on DraftKings. Now, Sam Horsfield's the last 2 starts finished 5th last week at the BMW there in Germany. Had one bad round on the 3rd round was tough for Sam. But Sam's an aggressive player, hits it a long way, makes a ton of birdies. He's a multiple PGA Tour or European Tour winner. I think he's got some chops. If he can hold off Rory, he's like 3rd. He's like, I don't know, he's like maybe 4th or 5th in the odds market on the Irish Open for the Irish Open behind Rory and Shane Lowry and Tommy Fleetwood and those guys. So he's definitely a favorite in the Irish Open. He's not the favorite, but it's a double that I kind of like. I kind of like it. Old Sam Horsfield. Now, his residence is now in Orlando, apparently, or around there, but plenty of experience over there on the European Tour. I like that about Sam. So there you go. You like that, Pat?
Mm-hmm.
You like that a little bit?
That's like pretty good. Pretty good.
Can you imagine
it's very hard to hit a double bet like that, but yeah, I mean, that's good.
Yeah, I mean, there are probably a lot better ways you can blow a 200 to 1. I mean, I'd rather bet like a lot of guys at 200 to 1, but I think that's an interesting one if you want a little Bryson exposure. And then you just pray the Lord that Horsfield, maybe you do a couple Bryson doubles and pair him up with a couple guys. You can do a Bryson Rory double. I think that's like 70 to 1.
Yeah.
Probably won't happen either, but there you go. But what if that did hit, man? I would drunk text you equivalent to your Bo Hostler victory laps if that hit. You would hear from me daily, a lot.
I think I just texted once about Bo Hostler, but that's okay.
No, you didn't. I will go find it. All right, we ready to button this up, Pat? Ready for
let's go.
Ladies and gentlemen, one of our favorite segments that we're going to do right here to wrap up the show is Just the Tip. That's right. We're just going to give you a little tip. Just a little tip to make you a better DFS player or whatever, okay? And what I'm about to give you here is going to help you in both. It's going to help you in all of them. And it is, I'm going to right now in front of Pat, but he's not paying attention. So who knows if he's going to have any rebuttal to this, but I'm going to poke holes in a stat that I hate. And that is proximity stats. That is proximity stats. That is, proximity range stats. I'm going to give you reasons why you should avoid those stats because they are noise. They are all noise, and they are bad. They're just very bad. I'm going to jump all over the place. I'm going to try to make this quick, but here it is. First of all, I think one of the number one reasons is conditions. You know, 200 yards in freaking, at Sedgefield Country Club is different than 200 yards at, damn wherever elevation, Mexico at elevation or wherever they play where there's elevation. It's different. Is it downhill? Is it uphill? Is it downwind? Is it against the wind? Is it firm conditions? Is the flag 200 yards away, but the greens are firm as shit, and I'm trying to land this thing? The green's 28 yards deep and the pin's back in the back left corner, and I'm trying to land this thing 180 because I know it's going to bounce up, and it's, there's so much about the conditions, and the actual number that these guys are shooting for is very different. It's the same reason why, like, sometimes it's easy to get worked up on, you see these guys like, these guys play different golf courses than we play. Like, we play a lot of soft green courses. These guys play firm conditions. The ball bounces and then it's going to spin, but it'll bounce. It'll take a big first hop. Pay attention to that. Okay, that's something to think about. The second biggest reason is because a lot of times, if you listen and if you read enough press transcripts and you're around this game enough and around really good players, you learn that most of the time they're hitting for the middle of the green. They're not going for these flags tucked 4 yards off the left corner and 6 paces on. They're aiming for the fat part of the green and managing their misses, right? They're managing their misses. If the pin's tucked left and there's trouble left and they don't want to be short-sided left, they aim in the middle. If they overcook it and they overdraw it a little bit and it ends up 6 feet from the pin, congratulations. But that's not what they were trying to do. They didn't execute the shot that they were actually trying to hit. They were just planning that, okay, if I lose this right a little bit, I'm okay. I got green to work with. I can get up and down. If I aim for the pin and I miss left, I'm dead. I'm in jail. So you don't know where these guys are actually aiming, but most of the time they're aiming in the middle. They're aiming to the fat part of the green. Okay, fat part of the green. Let's talk ranges. I hate this too. Ranges. Like, okay, this guy, what's really important here is to hit it well, have good proximity numbers from 150 to 200 yards or 200 to 225. Sample size is one thing, right? How many iron shots do you really think these guys get in a whole year, from 200 to 225 yards, right? How many do they really get where they're hitting not many. I mean, dozens, maybe, maybe 100 at the most, which is not a lot in the game of golf. If you're looking at, last 24 rounds or last 36 rounds, you're not talking about a lot at all. So there's not a very big sample size. And I think the longer you get away from the hole, that the more limited the sample sizes are going to be. And then it's like, what if it's okay? What if you're looking at a 150 to 175 range? What if the number was 149? What if the number was 149 and he freaking stuck it to 4 feet? But that doesn't count in the 150 to 175 range. Or what if it's 176 or 180? Or what if it's 180, but he's actually trying to play a 160 shot to account for wind and bounce and downhill and elevation? You don't know, but it doesn't go down as a 160 shot. It goes down as a 180 shot, and it's not in the bucket. So he could be really good in one category and really crappy in another. It's not good. There's a lot of variability, too, in the way they calculate it. The PGA Tour calculates proximity on shots that come within 30 yards of the green's edge. So if the shot comes up short of that, like let's say this is weird. Let's say they're hitting into 17 at TPC Sawgrass, the Island Green. The pin is in the front. Okay, they're trying to carry it to let's say they're trying to carry it to the middle, right? But the pin's in the front, and they come up short. Did you know that the ball that comes up short of the what do they call the wood things? The bulkhead. If the ball barely comes up short of the bulkhead in the water, but it's within 30 yards of the edge, the shot length volunteer, who's like 100, is going to shoot the water. And I'm assuming, but he's going to count it. It counts in their proximity number. They hit it in the freaking water.
I don't think that counts in the proximity number.
Yes, it does. I looked it up today. Yes, it does.
No, I'm going to need somebody to confirm
if it's in the hazard.
I'm going to need somebody outside of you to actually confirm that.
Okay, well, I'll let you do the research on that. But my research today says if it is in the hazard and within 30 yards, the ShotLink volunteer will shoot it and it will count.
But
So
30 yards is so far, like you wouldn't even like that would not help your proximity numbers. So why would that matter? It makes your proximity numbers worse.
No, it doesn't. A big miss like that. So let's say it's outside of 30 yards and
because then you're not picking that player because he's not really checking your box for a proximity number. If he's like hitting it out there, that's going to make it worse. It's not going to make it any better.
Wait a second, though. Wait a second. If he misses it by that much, it doesn't count. So that means only the one. So you're taking his big misses and you're not counting them. You're only counting the ones within 30 yards. So if he misses it that bad, it doesn't get counted. You see what I'm saying?
But
you're only the good.
You're not going to have a good proximity number if you don't hit it close to the pin in a consistent manner, right? How could you have a good tell me how you can have a good proximity number but you hit it 30 yards from the pin all the time? There's no fucking way. There's no way that would be your fucking that would actually happen.
I'm not saying all the time, but what I'm saying is yes, if he's way off, if it's more than 30 yards, it actually doesn't go into the pool. So then
you're still going to have a bad proximity number, so nobody's looking at it. Nobody's looking at it anyway.
No, that's not true. It would be worse if you counted it. If he's 32 yards off and they don't count it, his proximity number is better than it would be if they counted it. Because
but you're still not looking at that guy because you're not seeing the
you don't know.
Proximity numbers. The proximity numbers you're going to look at if it's like consistently closer to the pin. That's what you're looking at proximity for. You're not looking at all the variables that you're talking about that could mess up a proximity number. The proximity number you want is somebody who consistently is close to the pin because that's going to tell you, okay, over time, they actually hit it close to the pin. It's not that freaking hard to understand.
Joe Cap said, y'all need to smoke some fucking weed. That's what Joe Cap said. Pat, you missed everything else that I said, I guess, in the beginning. But this doesn't have to be the longest just the tip in the world. I knew you'd get fired up about this if you paid enough attention. But you missed everything else I said. I'm saying that the proximity stats, I don't care if you look at it over the long term or not, the proximity stat is noise. It is not the best stat to determine who is hitting their irons the best. If you just want to know who's hitting their irons the best, who's hitting it the closest, strokes gained approach is the one and the only stat that's worth looking at because there's not as much noise. This whole stat argument isn't about which one is better than the other. That's the thing that y'all can't get correct. That's the thing that AC can't get correct. That's the thing all of y'all can't get correct. It is not about one stat versus the other. It is about using it when you think you might want to use it for some other reason. It has nothing to do with I'm saying it's a better stat than another one. That's fucking asinine. So nobody's saying that. AC is asinine if he thinks that I'm thinking that strokes gained approach is not better than proximity. Dumbass. I'm not saying that. Okay. So why are you getting so offended? Why are you getting so offended?
Because I think that this is what you stat people do. Y'all try to use your stats and you try to say that I'm saying that using proximity is better than using strokes gained approach or better than using opportunities gained, which is what AC is sitting here doing in the chat. But you know what? I think proximity is a good stat to use. I'm not saying it's better than some other ones, but it's not a terrible stat to use. And AC doesn't know what the fuck he's talking about anyway. Does AC win every week? No, he doesn't. So get the fuck out of here. Did you just win 20 grand, AC? No. Mic drop. See ya out. Woo!
Thanks for watching the Tour Junkies podcast. This just got lit. This is going to be fun. The DK TJ After Dark is going to be fantastic. See ya.